Hi everyone, how are you? Today we're going to talk about the next topic, which is motivation. It's actually one of the most important topics we think about in this world. However, what's important here is the world of special education, educational psychology, and counseling. What's important here is basically the motivation of having a kind of a direction in life. It may be from your heritage, it may be from your culture, it may be from objectives you have in life. Whatever it is, it's basically your motivation. Okay, why am I an engineer rather than a teacher? Why am I a mother rather than being, I don't know, a full-time job politician? Okay, where I'm more of a politician and a mother. I chose to be a mother full time for certain reasons. Okay, sometimes we're not aware of it, and that's fine. But is that motivation? That's a big question, right? So is it motivation if you're not aware of it? That you're a full-time mother, okay, I don't know. In the sense of maybe you're a full-time mother, you don't see it. I would love to be a politician, but it's more like my life, okay, or whatever it is, okay. Anyways, that's a big question in the world of psychology. It's nice to think about it. That's also motivation. Sometimes we start with a kind of question mark in the essay or in our writing skills or presentations or whatever, to grasp the readers or the audience's attention for motivation. The same thing with the movie or anything else. It's a technique for motivation. It motivates the person to continue and watch and ask questions, interact, or whatever objectives we have from that activity. Okay, the teacher comes in the class and presents a kind of nice presentation, a YouTube video, a kind of tool that she has or he has, or maybe grasps the attention of the students and motivates them to continue and to do well on the subject or to know well. Okay, so in this case, what's important here is that we need we need to have a kind of very systematic approach to this, in the sense of we need to have a have a kind of systematic approach of what is motivation. Okay, so what is motivation, and what's the what's it called what's the question, what are the questions there? Why is it important? Basically, like I said, it's all around us. Okay, you can find from advertising to catching people's attention to our life. But what's important here is in the counseling and institutions, obviously, we always do different activities and workshops. We always do different things that make us think about the motivation part. Now, one of the things are, for example, for children when they grow up, for different reasons, obviously, we think about what motivates them, right? So, for the infant or to teenage or to afterwards, okay. So this is really important because if you don't know what motivates, then it will be a drawback for you. So that's what's important. Okay, this is all really important for different reasons, as known. One of them is really to get your objectives. Okay, so to get your objectives there, so if you're in an institution and you have students kind of delaying back, or for you need to make sure that you have a kind of set of goals, or set of just set of goals or different things that makes that makes you know that, okay, maybe I can grasp their attention. Obviously they would have their own reasons, and that's where counseling comes in. Or not only counseling, here it's more of a stigma, right? It's more of, the teacher, the different people who are in charge of it, let's put it that way. Okay, because It may be that the counseling world um, is a different world, and it's we said from the beginning that's a principle that's also motivating people, but it should be welcoming and it should be that way. So it's not like welcoming in the sense of only welcoming to get students and then it changes. No, it always should be that way. That's number one rule of education psychology. You always have to be clear with the future, with what's going to happen. You cannot show it in the beginning and then change. Okay, it's not like the old times of advertising or everything. It's wrong. Today it's even more complicated, but that's how it should be. And at the same time, you can't stress all the time on the education psychology part because that's you know that's part of it. It's a whole system. Okay, so everyone should take their responsibility, and part of it is education psychology. Okay, so you can't put everything on them, and then because that's very important. That's clear. That's part of clarity from the beginning. That's what also motivates is know the details, know different things. Okay. Anyways, motivation is obviously the reason why things happen as it is. They say because they're motivated to do that. The character, the behavior, and everything else. The same thing in the education psychology world. Why is the school body like that in this area rather than in that area? Why do certain people draw back, or why do certain people excel, or okay? So this is what's important here, and this is just a kind of glimpse on motivation's huge world. Teachers, what motivates them, the decision makers, the principal, the managerial level in the companies, in different things. Okay, so what does motivate? What do they motivate, and why does it happen? Okay, so why do things happen as they are? Okay, one of them is motivation, obviously, but we just look at motivation in a different way. So we look at the other factors because it's important to look at the other factors, not only think about, okay, it's motivation. Okay. Anyways, this is the start. And going into the different uh, go into the different details. The different details basically is that motivation has a different kind of element in addiction psychology. Is that it glimpses on the important factors that moves the person or makes them stronger given. Okay, and then the other things may be in times where they have different issues, like for example in therapy. So in therapy, for example, we said that usually education psychology world it's very welcoming because you have that world, right? It's the world, it's the beginning. Part of the clarity is that there's certain populations for different reasons. Obviously there's a whole system of there that goes into therapy. Okay, in the therapy, and we said one of them obviously is the consent, and more than that, it's a kind of complicated issue where you have a diagnosis and everything else and different details there. Okay, the therapy is a huge world. However, it's obviously there's a stigma for it, and that's why there is a very, very strong routine and very strong kind of system with therapy. Okay, usually it's for special education and for other cases where from the young years they have them. So from 2.5 years old and onwards. Okay, sometimes before and after. However, that's the average. That's for the therapy. That's the therapy that you know that's routine and everything else. Okay. The other ones that comes up and off and on, that's different. Okay. That's a different world and has its own privacy, obviously. And not only that, is stigma and everything else is there. However, that's what people work on all the time. That it just off and on, and no one knows about it, basically. Okay. So it's for that population, and they know them, and then off and on, off and on. Okay, so it's very private, and it's a very kind of private world. This obviously in education college, it's important. It's the other factors the culture won't talk about today, because unfortunately some cultures are not positive, some cultures are negative, some cultures are positive, and that affects that population, other populations, especially special education, obviously, and other ones that are routine. However, in welcoming, even in certain negative, cultures that have their approach is different. Let's put it that way. And it's also important to even the welcoming part may be an issue. So in this case, you have a different world, which is, you know, what motivates the whole kind of realm, the whole kind of world is what psychology. Okay, and that's what people concentrate on the last 25 years, last 30 years, you can say, of culture. It's more welcoming. Okay, it's a welcoming culture. You know, the stigma, and obviously it's not like that. You know, it comes from down to above. Okay, that's what's supposed to happen, where it is like that. Okay, so it is like that. It's not like they're doing advertising and then you go in and it's another world. That's in theory great, right? You don't want to go in the practical world, which everyone knows is very different. However, that doesn't give the excuse for no development. That's why there are colleges, universities, and everything else today, and why there are different kinds of I don't know what you may call boards, accreditation, everything, and not to stigmatize people and freak them out. It's opposite. It's to build. You're building. You're developing. Okay, that's the whole issue of it. Okay, and that's the motivation out of it. You know, that's what motivates people to continue. Is that, oh, okay, and they continue. It doesn't mean that they go down in other things. Okay, that's what's important here, because if you don't have that kind of that kind of world, then you know of making sure that it excels and develops and it goes with everything else, and it's always positive. It's not like a kind of, you know, old advertising style where it's great on the screen, but the actual product is very bad. Okay, in today's world, this is always different in all cases, but this is important because this is really what motivates people to be where they are and to have such. This is important, right? We don't. It's a given, but to have such institutions or um, specialties or whatever. Okay, in education psychology, obviously, and other things too. Obviously, have like human resources and marketing and different business and different things that concentrate on these things. Okay, but what's important here is that in this world, it's important to be aware that it's there, basically the motivation part, and it's like I said, it's done in therapy in the sense of what motivates this person, like in CBT or in ABA as a reinforcement. It's put in their motivation is changed to reinforcement. You can put it that way, and it becomes the reinforcement. Okay, in applied behavior analysis, in cognitive behavior therapy, it's different. The motivation is depending on different activities, and the different activities they do or therapies they do with the person. This is more behavioral psychology that's used that extensively uses motivation and other things, obviously. Okay, this is in the world of therapy. Occupational therapy also uses it, and other therapies too. However, these two, they use it extensively, and it's important to be used as such. There are other therapies also that use motivation. And in these other therapies, it's not necessarily reinforcement, it's positive. It may come against the person, but it's more old style, like psychoanalysis or other ones. You have humanistic psychology, you have different ones. However, what's important here is the fact that you know, it's because sometimes the motivation comes, like for example, you're motivated to do this thing, but it's actually opposite. It's actually it goes against you. Let's say in the well-being world, you know, maybe you like to I don't know, you like to you do your work for 5 hours. That's great. Okay, or yeah, let's say you do work for 5 hours, and then you have you're motivated for different objectives. Then you have uh 5 hours afterwards of being with the family or whatever. Okay, if I'm being with the family or whatever, and your other things they have to do, your routine world, and then at night, you know, I don't know, you go to sleep. Okay, um and then you see that you have to be part of the world, so you have to know the world more. Okay, I don't know, so it may be that's a great motivation. Okay, the other objectives, but maybe I don't know, you think, okay, I need 1 hour, 2 hours. That's what motivates you, that to be part of, you know, to know what's going on in the world, basically. Maybe you're in socialization or maybe it can be 1 hour social communication, right? That, and which is great. It's not an issue. Okay, so maybe it can be that. Maybe it can be a maybe 2 hour book. Okay, you get a book, or you have a book, and okay, maybe it can be it can be like a 3 hour, 1 hour movie, 1 hour social communication, and then 1 hour if you like to watch the news. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Um, it depends on you. Okay. So here you can find that the day is great, and that's what motivates this person, is that that's what they need for their own objectives right now. But then you have that kind of a kind of I don't know, negativity, okay, in the sense of, you feel, okay, I'm kind of not aware of the world. I Maybe you want to apply a new job, maybe you want to you want to turn in a paper in your work, and you feel like you to know what's going on the topic, and then you do that. Okay, this is a simple case, right? This is a case where actually it's against you if you stay on that kind of level where, okay, you kind of have to open up with the 3 hours. Okay, sometimes it's hard for the person because the person is really stressed out, or it's new for the person. And opposite, okay, maybe the person uh, uh, maybe the person is actually pretty aware of the world and always socialization, but needs time to apply for jobs, and that may be hard for this person. Okay, maybe this person has kind of social relationships and everything else that will change. Okay, so in this case, the old kind of motivation is wrong. Anyways, it's going against the person. Okay, and this also comes in a kind of this is more humanistic, okay, approach, and then you kind of change the person's kind of values and objectives for the new life they have, I guess. Okay, it depends on that. Anyways, this is all kind of different details of how motivation comes in this world. We'll go to another set of important reasons why motivation is always there, and it's always important, and it is the world of it's the world it's the world of having a kind of idea of um, the institution, or the curriculum, or the environment, or the culture, what motivates us as a whole. That's also important. Okay, so not only one person therapy, or in cultural kind of environmental aspect from topography world, okay, in the sense of, or in general, in the sense of, in generally, okay, it's more here of the world of um, the world of the institution as a community as a whole, or whatever you may see it, what motivates it. So a whole entity moment. You can find it socio, right? It's more social, okay? It is more social psychology, social educational psychology, okay? And that's very important actually, because as an entity, not as a person, as an entity, what motivates it? Okay, and that's a kind of different level of thinking about the education psychology, which is there also. However, it is important uh, to it is important to have a uh, that kind of awareness of the different factors that exist in the world of education psychology, counseling, and special education, the um, which is the world of motivation, basically. Okay. If you have any kind of questions, comments, or topics, please feel free to contact me, to ask me questions, to comment here. I would be more than happy to share different topics you are interested in. Please contact me as soon as possible. You have my contact information below in the description and the channel. Please subscribe and have a great day. Bye.